What if your greatest power lies not in what you add to your life, but in what you silently remove? We live in a culture that screams for more productivity hacks, more possessions, more connections, more noise. We are conditioned to believe that accumulation is the path to success and happiness. But the ancient Stoics, those master architects of the inner world, discovered a profound and counterintuitive truth. Freedom, clarity, and genuine power are forged in the quiet fires of subtraction. The clutter you hold onto in your mind, in your habits, in your relationships, is a weight that sinks your potential. Today, we will embark on a deep and practical journey to identify and release 11 of these burdens. This is not about decluttering your closet. It is about decluttering your soul, reclaiming your mental sovereignty, and building an unshakable inner citadel from which you can operate with purpose and peace. The Stoic philosopher King Marcus Aurelius, while leading military campaigns on the front lines of the Roman Empire, wrote in his private journal that our existence is shaped by the quality of our thoughts. He understood that the external world is chaotic and largely outside our command, but the inner landscape of our mind is a kingdom we alone rule. This profound insight reveals the ultimate path to true freedom, the quiet, disciplined art of elimination. It is about removing the invisible chains that bind your attention, drain your energy, and cloud your judgment. We will explore 11 specific, subtle burdens you must learn to release. This is not a passive viewing experience. Consider this your personal invitation to a quieter, stronger, and more intentional way of being. Each point is a tool for your liberation. Let us begin with the first and perhaps most emotionally charged elimination. Stop justifying yourself to those who wound you. When someone you trusted, a close friend, a family member, a colleague, betrays that trust, the immediate, visceral reaction is often to seek explanation, to demand a reason, to make them understand the pain they have caused. We draft speeches in our minds, we rehearse conversations, we seek validation for our hurt. But here is the Stoic reality. You owe them no elaborate explanation. The most powerful, dignified, and ultimately self-preserving response is often a silent, deliberate departure. This is not an act of weakness or passive aggression. It is an act of profound self-respect. Protecting your inner peace is not rude. It is the highest form of essential wisdom. Consider this scenario. The person who hurt you later returns, perhaps in a moment of their own need, asking for your help. The social script demands compassion, but the Stoic script demands discernment. A simple, firm no is a complete sentence. You are not morally obligated to lend your energy, time, or emotional support to someone who has demonstrated a willingness to fracture the bond you shared. To do so is often to disrespect your own boundaries and reopen a healing wound. The key is to create this distance without fanfare or drama. There is no need for a grand announcement of your departure. Simply redirect your energy and presence. Let time and natural consequences be the teacher. Your focus does not belong on their reckoning or their understanding. It belongs exclusively on your own growth and healing. By refusing to engage in a cycle of blame and justification, you reclaim all your power. You are no longer a character in their drama, but the author of your own recovery. The strongest response to injury is not a louder argument, but a quieter, more dignified distance. You honor yourself not by fighting a battle you cannot win, but by choosing a different battlefield altogether, the one within, where you build a life so full and authentic that the noise of past betrayals simply fades away. This leads us to our second elimination: release goals that no longer serve your core purpose. As we journey through life, we are not static beings. Our experiences, insights, and failures constantly reshape our understanding of who we are and what we value. The ambitions you held at 20 may be ill-fitting costumes at 30. The dreams you chase to impress others may feel hollow once you start listening to your own inner voice. There is no virtue, only stubbornness, in clinging to outdated dreams simply because you once declared them. The path to wisdom is paved with the courage to let go. The Stoic key to this process is discretion. You need not announce every pivot, every change of heart, or every abandoned project to the world. In fact, broadcasting your intentions can be counterproductive. It often triggers a rush of dopamine that mimics the satisfaction of achievement, thereby reducing your motivation to do the actual work. Furthermore, it invites unsolicited opinions, doubt, and pressure that can distort your genuine path. Instead, embrace the power of silent realignment. Work in the quiet. Re-evaluate your goals against your core values, not the values you were taught, but the ones you have discovered through lived experience. Ask yourself, does this goal still light a fire in my soul? Does it align with the person I am becoming? If the answer is no, have the courage to gently set it aside. There is no failure in this. There is only evolution. As Seneca so brilliantly noted, life is long enough, and it's been given in sufficiently generous measure if we manage it properly. The tragedy is not that we have too little time, but that we waste so much of it on pursuits that drain our spirit and scatter our focus. Stop investing your precious life energy in a future that no longer calls to you. Let your progress, when it comes, speak for itself in its own time. Your fulfillment is found not in checking off boxes on a list written by a past version of yourself, but in the authentic, sometimes messy, pursuit of what truly matters to you now. Our third elimination requires us to navigate the delicate terrain of human connection. Cease oversharing relationship endings. Whether a friendship has faded or a romantic partnership has dissolved, the end of a significant relationship is a deeply personal and often painful event. In our modern age, there is a temptation to process this pain publicly, to dissect the reasons for the split, to assign blame, to seek validation from our social circles by sharing the intimate details of the conflict. The Stoic approach offers a more dignified and ultimately more healing path. The intimate details of a finished connection represent a sacred trust that was shared between two people. To broadcast the conflicts, the private moments, or the reasons for the parting is to disrespect that shared privacy and to reduce a meaningful chapter of your life to trivial gossip. It fuels a narrative that is often one-sided and incomplete, complicating the healing process for everyone involved. True healing from loss does not happen in the court of public opinion. It happens in the quiet chambers of your own heart through sober reflection. It requires you to sit with the discomfort, to examine your own role in the dynamic, and to extract the lessons without the need for an audience. If you find yourself feeling compelled to constantly discuss and relitigate a past relationship, it may be a signal of an unresolved emotional attachment. The work, then, is to process these feelings through introspection and perhaps professional guidance, not through endless conversations with friends. The Stoic aim is to resolve all matters, even painful endings, with dignity. This means honoring the privacy of both parties and allowing the relationship to rest without turning its corpse into a spectacle. By doing so, you safeguard not only your own emotional well-being but also the integrity of the shared history. You emerge not as a victim telling a story, but as a whole person who has integrated a difficult experience into the tapestry of your life. The fourth elimination moves from the private to the interpersonal. Eliminate raising your voice in conflict. Imagine you are in a heated discussion, a business meeting, a family disagreement. Your pulse quickens, your face flushes, the pressure builds in your chest. The primitive part of your brain, the amygdala, screams for an outlet, and the temptation to release that pressure through a raised voice, a sharp tone, or an outburst can feel overwhelming. Yet, the Stoics teach us that true strength, the kind that commands genuine respect, manifests not in volume, but in measured, deliberate tones. Recall a time you witnessed someone lose their composure under pressure. How did it make you feel? Most likely, it created discomfort, perhaps even pity, or a loss of respect for that person. Their outburst did not project power. It projected a lack of control. Now, recall someone who, in the face of chaos and high emotion, remained a pillar of calm. Their quiet authority, their ability to speak softly when everyone else was shouting, was far more commanding than any dramatic display. That is the person we should aspire to be. This is the practice of emotional alchemy. It is the conscious act of channeling the raw energy of frustration, anger, or hurt into focused, precise words. It is transforming a reactive storm into a constructive response. This does not mean suppressing your emotions, it means mastering them, using their energy to fuel clarity rather than chaos. As the pre-Socratic philosopher Heraclitus observed, character is destiny. Your composure in these stormy moments defines you far more than any temporary victory in an argument. It demonstrates that you are the master of your inner world and therefore cannot be easily shaken by the outer world. The goal is not to win the argument, but to uphold your integrity throughout it. The fifth elimination concerns our social conduct. Abandon spreading negative opinions about others. Take a moment and think about the last time you heard someone speaking critically about a person who was not present. As you listened, did you not, on some level, wonder what that person might say about you when you were not in the room? This is a universal human response. Spreading negative judgments, even when they feel justified, is a slippery slope that ultimately erodes trust and stains your own character. Those negative words, once released, cling to you like shadows, casting doubt on your discretion and your capacity for loyalty. A Stoic does not operate on the premise that you must like or approve of everyone. Such an expectation is unrealistic. However, the philosophy demands a baseline of empathy and respect. Remember the fundamental Stoic principle. Every person you meet is fighting a hard battle you know nothing about. The co-worker who was short with you may be grappling with a sick child. The friend who cancelled plans may be struggling with a hidden anxiety. When you are faced with a challenging person or a frustrating situation involving them, you have a choice. You can choose the easy path of disdain and criticism, or you can choose the more difficult but more noble path of seeking understanding. Ask questions instead of making declarations. Try to see the situation from their perspective. This approach is not about being a pushover. It is about building bridges of trust and demonstrating a maturity that transcends petty judgments. Your conscious silence about the faults of others speaks volumes about your own strength of character. It tells the world that you are a person of discretion, a safe confidant, and someone who focuses on building up rather than tearing down. This practice of turning inward naturally leads us to our sixth elimination: quit comparing your journey to others. In our hyper-connected world, the temptation to constantly measure our own progress against the curated highlights of everyone else's lives is a relentless thief of joy. It is like running on a treadmill that is set to someone else's pace. It is exhausting, disorienting, and ultimately a race you can never win. This habit chains you to a vicious cycle of feeling perpetually behind, fostering self-doubt and a deep sense of inadequacy. The Stoic antidote to this is a radical focus on your own unique path. Your life is an original manuscript, written in a language only you can fully understand. It is not a copy to be compared against others. The stumbles, the detours, The quiet victories that go unnoticed. These are not signs of failure, but the very elements that give your story its depth, resilience, and authenticity. Instead of glancing sideways, train your gaze forward on your own trajectory. Celebrate your distinctive progress. Did you manage a difficult conversation with more grace than you would have last year? That is a victory. Did you learn a new skill, however small? That is progress. Did you simply get through a tough day with your integrity intact? That is an achievement. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught us that our chief task in life is to correctly manage our perceptions. By choosing to perceive your journey as a unique and valuable adventure, you free yourself from the tyranny of comparison. Your mission is not to outrun the person next to you, but to run your own race with all the courage and heart you can muster. Focus on your own lane, and you will find that the finish line you were desperately seeking was within you all along. The seventh elimination addresses a primary engine of this comparison culture. Stop mindless social media consumption. Your life is a rich, complex, and personal story, filled with mundane moments, private struggles, and unphotographed joys. Social media, in stark contrast, is a collective, curated highlight reel. It is a gallery of everyone's best angles, greatest successes, and happiest moments. The fundamental disparity between the messy reality of your lived experience and the polished perfection of these digital facades is a recipe for discontent, anxiety, and a distorted sense of self. The Stoic approach is not necessarily to reject these tools entirely, but to use them with extreme intention and discipline. Ask yourself, what is the specific purpose of my engagement right now? Is it to connect with a specific community, to learn a specific skill, to find genuine inspiration? Once that purpose is served, disconnect. Do not allow the platform to become a default state of being, a mindless void you fall into out of boredom or habit. Implement practical guards. Schedule specific, limited times for social media use, perhaps 20 minutes with your morning coffee or after you've completed your most important work for the day. Before you open an app, pause and ask a simple but powerful question. Is this going to add real value to my life and my mindset right now? Or is it merely a distraction, a drain on my focus and mood? This moment of mindfulness is the barrier between use and abuse. Most importantly, be a ruthless auditor of your own emotional state. If you consistently notice your mood darkening, your self-esteem plummeting, or a creeping sense of envy after scrolling, that is critical data. Honor it. Take a deliberate and extended break, a digital Sabbath. Use that reclaimed time to engage in activities that nourish your actual life. Read a book, go for a walk in nature, have a deep conversation with a friend, work on a creative project. Reconnect with the tangible, three-dimensional world that exists beyond the screen. Your life is the main event. Social media should be, at most, a brief intermission. The eighth elimination strikes at the heart of our social conditioning. Release the pursuit of external validation. Imagine living your life as if you were perpetually on a stage, under a harsh spotlight, performing for a faceless, judging audience. Every word, every action, every life choice is filtered through the question, what will they think of me? This constant performance is utterly exhausting and a profound betrayal of your authentic self. It leads you down paths that are not your own, forcing you to wear ill-fitting identities just to win the fleeting applause of others. Now, picture a different reality. Imagine stepping off that stage and into a quiet, serene room where the only voice that truly matters is your own. The most genuinely fulfilling moments of your life have likely occurred in this space when you pursued a passion simply for the joy of it, when you stood by a difficult principle because it was right, when you made a choice that aligned with your core values, even if it was misunderstood by others. This is the essence of authentic living. The Stoics understood that true validation is and must be an internal process. It is an inside job. You build your self-worth on your own terms, brick by brick, through actions and achievements that you yourself deem worthy. It comes from knowing you did your best, that you acted with integrity, that you were kind when it was difficult, that you persevered when you wanted to quit. This internal scorecard is the only one that provides lasting satisfaction and peace. Stop outsourcing your sense of worth to the fickle opinions of others. The crowd is a terrible guide to a good life. Build your life on the solid foundation of your own approval, and you will become impervious to the praise and blame that once tossed you like a ship in a storm. The ninth elimination deals with a perfectionism that paralyzes progress. The quest for flawlessness, while often disguised as a virtue, is in fact a formidable enemy of peace and progress. It sets impossibly high, often unattainable standards, and ensures that you live in a constant state of feeling not good enough. The fear of making a mistake, of producing something imperfect, can be so paralyzing that it prevents you from starting at all. It confuses the excellent with the flawless, and in doing so, it kills creativity, risk-taking, and the joy of the process. The Stoic, and indeed the artist, understands that life, like a piece of handcrafted pottery or a weathered stone, gains its true beauty and character from its slight imperfections, its unique textures, its honest scars. These flaws are not failures, they are records of a life lived, of risks taken, of lessons learned. To combat perfectionism, you must actively practice a new mindset. Embrace the concept of excellent enough. This means giving your absolute best effort to the task at hand, but releasing the obsessive need for a perfect outcome. Practice self-compassion relentlessly. When things go differently than you hoped, speak to yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend who had stumbled. Redefine success not as a flawless, pristine result, but as the courage to make the effort, the wisdom to learn from the outcome, and the resilience to try again. This mindset liberates you. It frees you to take bold risks, to experiment, to create, and to appreciate the profound beauty of honest, human endeavor. Perfection is a sterile and lonely destination. Excellence is a vibrant and ongoing journey. The 10th elimination requires us to examine the maps we use to navigate life. Let go of unrealistic expectations. As we embark on life's grand journey, we naturally set sails of expectation, charting courses toward our dreams and desires. However, these very sails can swell into monstrous, unrealistic proportions, morphing from healthy goals into destructive fantasies. We chase phantom ideals of perfection in our careers, our relationships, our bodies, and our experiences, a quest as futile as a sailor chasing a horizon that forever retreats. These gargantuan expectations, often implanted by societal narratives, advertising, and social media, blind us to the authentic beauty of our real, imperfect lives and the raw, unvarnished reality of the people around us. We become disappointed not because our lives are bad, but because they fail to match a fictional ideal. The path to freedom begins with a fierce, unflinching honesty with oneself. It is a journey of peeling back the layers of shoulds and coulds to reveal the core of your true aspirations and realistic capacities. It's about recognizing the immense weight of these expectations and courageously asking, is this standard elevating me, inspiring me to grow, or is it crushing my spirit, making me feel perpetually inadequate? This is not a fairy tale transformation. It is a gritty, sometimes painful, acknowledgement of life's inherent imperfections and our own human limitations. Set goals that resonate with the person you truly are, not the person you feel you are supposed to be. Find your fulfillment in the gritty, real, and often messy journey itself, in the lessons learned from failure, the strength forged in adversity, the small, daily acts of courage. Each step forward, no matter how small, becomes a testament to your resilience. Letting go of unrealistic expectations doesn't just unburden you, it opens your eyes to the unexpected wonders and simple joys that were always there, hidden in plain sight, waiting for you to appreciate them. Our 11th and final elimination is a cornerstone of virtuous character. Eradicate gossip. Engaging in gossip and negative chatter can sometimes feel like a quick and easy shortcut to social bonding. It creates a fleeting sense of camaraderie in shared judgment, but it is a path that ultimately leads you astray, eroding trust and integrity. Think back to the last time you participated in such a conversation. When it was over, did you feel uplifted, connected, and clean? Or did you feel a subtle, nagging sense of unease, as if you had compromised a part of yourself? Words are immensely powerful. They are like seeds. The words you choose to plant and nurture will determine the landscape of your character and your relationships. Will you cultivate weeds of negativity, distrust, and pettiness? Or will you cultivate a garden of kindness, understanding, and respect? The next time you feel tempted to participate in gossip, whether to speak it or to eagerly listen, I challenge you to pause. Insert a moment of Stoic mindfulness. Consider the person being discussed as a complex, feeling human being, with their own struggles, fears, and battles, just like you. Remember that you have your own flaws and moments of poor judgment. Would you want your most vulnerable moments, your biggest mistakes, to be the topic of someone's idle chatter? Steering clear of gossip is not just about avoiding negativity. It is about actively honoring our shared humanity. It is a practice of empathy and discretion. When you lead by example, when you gently steer conversations toward more constructive ground, you are not just avoiding a bad habit, you are lighting a path for others, becoming a beacon of integrity in a world often noisy with judgment. You build a reputation as a person who is safe, trustworthy, and fundamentally kind. In the quiet refusal to tear others down, you build yourself up in the most meaningful way possible. By quietly, consistently removing these 11 burdens from your life, you are not merely engaging in self-improvement, you are engaging in the sacred Stoic practice of building an inner citadel. You are clearing the ground, laying a strong foundation, and raising walls of discipline, focus, and virtue. This citadel becomes your unshakable core, a place of peace and power that remains standing regardless of the storms raging in the external world. This is the essence of Stoicism, not dramatic, one-time gestures, but the daily, disciplined choices of what you will allow into the sacred space of your mind. If this path to a lighter, stronger, and more sovereign mind resonates with you, please take a moment to like this video. It truly helps this channel, Stoic Mindset Mastery, share this timeless wisdom with others who are seeking the same clarity and strength in their lives. And I am genuinely interested in your journey. In the comments below, which of these 11 silent eliminations do you believe would create the most immediate and profound peace in your life? Share your number one choice, and let's support each other in the quiet, powerful work of building our inner fortresses.